Good morning.
Good morning, coffee moaners. Welcome, welcome. I've got my new specs on.
Apologies for the delay from 10 to 10:30 to 10:35, but we got there in the end.
Yeah, we've had a crazy morning.
Yeah.
I'm calling them my Harriet Potters, and you're my Harry Potter.
They're more sort of John Lennon, aren't they? They're sort of Yoko Ono Lennon-like.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay. How are we all doing? We had a lovely weekend, which we'll tell you a bit about.
Maybe they're not interested in our weekend.
And
how was your weekend?
How
was your weekend? Start to drop your. Anyway, what are we talking about this morning? We're going to be talking about all sorts of stuff. We've got a hysterical exchange between Nadia and Lee. I think you've posted it on Instagram, so we can talk about it. We're going to be talking about Hampstead Heath cruising for a bruising. Local community, dog walkers, etc., wanting it to no longer be. For those of you who don't know, in London, Hampstead Heath, a very famous location for something called cruising, where how do you politically correctly? Yeah, but I just want to explain what it means. People will be like, "What the fuck is Hampstead Heath?"
When we get there, we'll explain it.
Yeah, but okay. We're going to be talking about spring cleaning hell. How if I see another fucking daffodil, I want to punch them in the face.
I love daffodils.
Mark! I've planted loads for you in the garden. Go and look at them because I can't fucking stand them. That's not very nice.
How am I going to feel now when I look at the daffodils knowing you want to stamp on them? That's not nice.
Daffodils can go fuck themselves. I said it. I hate them. Punch the little fuckers in their stupid little tubular faces.
You're swearing too much.
I don't care. Daffodils are shit.
Stop.
Daffodils are shit. They're predictable.
Stop.
They're too yellow.
Stop
too
it.
Yellow.
Stop it now.
Sorry. And we're going to talk seriously about the just breathtakingly ghastly, outwardly declared, proudly proclaimed stopping of electricity to Gaza.
Again. Okay, so what should we... Let's start with the weekend.
Yeah, how was your weekend?
So I loved the week. Oh my God, it was so sunny. Well, first of all, we went to see our darling daughter and nephew.
Farida, I've never heard anyone hating on daffodils.
Exactly.
There's a first time for everything.
Singing their own songs and performing their own, and it's so fantastic. And so I put a reel up yesterday, actually, so check it out, because these two, we grew up next door to each other, bickering and fighting. We never would have imagined we would see them on a stage, and it was just a beautiful night.
It was a beautiful thing.
It was International Women's Day, so it was extra gorgeous. The whole thing was run by a group of women, so it was brilliant. But in the day, guess what, guys? Had the best time. The sun was out, which unfortunately meant I saw the dirty windows. But I paused those for a bit. I repotted my plants. Yeah. I was so Meghan Markle yesterday. It was unbelievable, wasn't it?
It was hideous.
I had like a couple of hours chat with Mark and Nanny Di and Kiki out in the garden. Then I made bread. I made dough out in the garden. And then I was drawn back to the windows. So then I washed only this block, not that block. Because as soon as the bloody sun comes in, all you can see is what's wrong. He doesn't see it. You've never noticed whether the windows are clean or not.
You know what? I noticed and I couldn't give a fuck.
Right, stop it now. If you keep swearing like this, I'm not going to do it. Right. The reason you don't notice is because you don't have to bloody clean them.
Hang on a minute.
You've never cleaned a window the whole time we've lived here.
No, I haven't. And windows. We're going to talk about spring cleaning, aren't we?
We are talking about it now.
This is it. We're in
started.
Oh, okay. Well, look, I got excited by a piece in The Guardian today where this woman wrote, I thought it was quite funny.
Oh, I haven't seen this.
I thought this was the peg. I'd sent it to you earlier this morning. Emma Beddington writes, sun shines back, the days are getting longer, and doesn't everything look awful? She's calling it week, which is the week that the sun first comes out and you see, because I've always wondered, what is the spring cleaning thing? Is it quite literally there's more sunlight shining?
Like when we have people over for lunch, I dread it if the sun comes out. I pray for rain because everything looks better. But now we've decorated, it's not so bad. But it will show up all the smudges on the kitchen cabinets. But also, it's not just that. It's like a nesting thing. It's like, oh, God, we've got a new chance. It's new beginnings, new life. Lambs are skipping. Daffodils are popping.
Lambs are skipping and they're going to be
tulips
slaughtered.
Are singing to us. And so you think, do you know what? I'm going to have a good clean out and then I'm going to feel fantastic.
Yeah, why? But But why at that
But I've
point?
still got that charcoal.
Why at that point? Why does it happen in spring? Why do we not?
'Cause
Why
I
do
think
we not
this-
want to do?
well,
Okay, let me ask. Hang on,
I'm
let me follow up.
gonna ask
Yeah,
you.
well, hang on. I'm going to ask a follow-up question. Why does it not happen in winter when we're nesting? We are
Well,
in.
as
we
I
are,
just-
we are hibernating.
As I
Why don't we
just said to
clean
you,
then?
because the sun comes out and shows it all up.
It's as
So you go,
we're
I
as
need to clean.
simple as that.
Well,
Spring cleaning.
oh, do you know what? You are really fucking pissing me off now. Because you never do any of this stuff. It's for morons, is it? Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. Why don't I not clean the windows for the next 10 years? Not pull the hair out of the shower. Not clean the toilets.
Hang on, that's
not
spring
empty.
cleaning.
If I don't do all
That's
those
not spring
things,
cleaning.
this place will
I
collapse.
will. If anyone, do you want to get into recycling?
Yeah, he's a grumpy old man today. You're
Who said
really
that?
grumpy and you're loud. You're shouting.
Grumpy old man. Mark's getting a spanking later, Edward Bevington. No, I'm just trying to throw the other side of the coin at you. Why does spring cleaning happen in spring and not in the
God,
summer
you
or
are
not in the winter?
unbelievably dense today. I've told you 3 times.
Yeah,
The
but-
sun comes in and shines on everything.
So it's
shows
as
it up.
literal as that?
Yes.
Wow.
What do you want? A deep thesis on it?
Feces. Yeah, that would be great. What do you think? Who's a keen spring cleaner? Oh, Stuart G. I love cleaning. Love spring cleaning.
'Cause it's like a new beginning, isn't it? Like spring.
Zoe Agnew, my flat is full of boxes, so it was so lovely to have a weekend of sun as I've been so stressed the past
You
few
really
weeks. Oh,
have,
sweetie,
poor
you're
thing.
moving on, I think, at the moment. Smudges on my glass cabinets are the bane of my life. I just pretend I don't see them now. Sick of cleaning them.
It's so boring, isn't it? Apparently, vinegar sorts everything out.
Lee Dorrant,
Is
you
there
can't see
anything
the
that
dirt
vinegar
in
doesn't
winter.
do?
Yeah, clean.
I found a new thing. Hang on.
Got to go off to the dump. My tail. So I can't.
Our
read
friend
that. Sorry.
Jordan, who's in LA, who lives in LA. He used to be our agent, and then he left and went to LA. But I was moaning about my stainless steel pots, and he said everyone in America uses this stuff. Barkeeper's friend. So I haven't tried it on the pots yet, but I did it on my Gosney yesterday.
Oh,
You know all that black where I burnt it, it's all come off.
yeah.
You know what it
I thought
reminds
it
me
was
of?
ant killer.
Do you remember Vim?
God, I love the old.
Do you remember Vim?
I love the old.
Do you remember Vim when you were kids? It was like a scour. You
top.
put it in the bath and it would just like, it's a bit like that. It's Vim. It's like old fashioned Vim. But I just got it off Amazon. But make sure
friend.
Make sure you get the right one, because there's stainless steel, there's porcelain, there's all different ones. And you mustn't use the wrong ones on the wrong one.
Oh.
But yeah, that was good.
Rachel Pickard, I hate cleaning. I want to be like Mrs. Hinch, who only ever cleans things that are already clean.
That's my thing. You know what I want, Rachel? I want just to have a week solid where from top to bottom, every room is done, because then I could do something else with my life. That's what I want.
But isn't life about living? And in living, things just get cluttered and pick things up. I mean, if we lived in an artificially sterile space.
I'm not talking about artificially sterile, Mark. We're talking about no madness.
Yeah, no, but one gets there. It's a process.
Do I need
It's a
to show them
journey.
your room again?
It's a journey. And if you get there, once you get there in the end, you turn around and it's all started again.
Cleaning is
Get a
therapy for me,
cleaner.
says Lee. I love it.
Cleaning is therapy for me. Oh,
I
sorry.
used to have a friend that used to love cleaning, and then she emigrated.
Tori,
She
hi,
used to come
sweetie.
round.
I hate cleaning and everywhere it's such a mess.
It's
a
a night where
nightmare.
you're 4 kids.
Yeah.
God almighty.
I think spring is the best time of year, said Jacqueline.
I love spring.
I love every season for different reasons. I feel anxious when I'm not cleaning, Victoria Moore. I do think I need to help a few
Anxious
people
when
out when I'm not cleaning. A couple of people commented underneath our latest home time vlog where the spray painter went mad, saying I just can't watch. This is too stressful. I think what we're going to have to explain to everyone is this channel will stress you out. It's all about things going wrong. Cleaning clears your mind, Gabrielle, and you feel much better afterwards. I agree. Yeah, I agree.
But sometimes that can tip over,
Yeah.
can't it, into OCD? Like if you're not cleaning, well, somebody just said that. I'm not saying you had OCD, the person that said that, but like one of my friends, like if she's not cleaning or moving the bins or doing something, literally the anxiety is unbearable, which is proper OCD, which is hell on earth, because it's a never-ending cycle, even when it's clean.
Donna Little, being ex-military brat, we cleaned all the time. I think one of the more serious things about cleaning and tidying and all that kind of stuff, and I get it, I get the spring clean and all that. It's everyone will. everyone has a right to do their bit when they want to do it. Like, I know I've got to get to grips with my room, like it takes you however long to get to grips with your wardrobe. Then you want to do the window. It's the feeling that you're not doing it when someone else is doing it. That's the part that's kind of like a struggle, isn't it? It's like, because you feel like
it's such a bloody struggle when somebody else is doing it.
Okay, so say on a day where you're doing lots of other things that aren't to do with the house but need to be done, and then someone's cleaning feverishly. It can
awful person.
No. It can easily make you feel like, oh fucking, I need to jump up now and do something.
Oh, but I tell you what, I won't. I'll just carry on doing.
No, I'll carry on editing content.
Exactly, which you love doing. Do you think? Oh my
Do you
think I love cleaning the windows as much as you love editing?
When have you cleaned the windows?
Yesterday. This is how this whole bloody conversation started.
I haven't even noticed. You can't even tell the difference.
I'm going to kill him. Does anybody want Mark?
No.
Does anybody want Mark? You don't have to do a swap. You can have two. I'll just send him to you and you can live with him. Is that what we need?
No.
Okay, we better move on.
Daffodils have fucked me off good and proper today. Oh, so apologies to Wales, because of course it's the national flag. It's not about Welshness or Wales. I mean, I love it being the
apology to Wales. Shut up, way too late. You've kicked the daffodils, you've sworn at them.
I've planted so many daffodils. I went out and I looked at them and I thought, you little yellow fuckers.
Mark, right, I'm actually going to leave.
Why?
Because
it's
too
insulting
much.
Daffodils.
No, it's because you're being very loud and very sweary.
Oh my God, the loudest woman on the planet. We were having a conversation earlier and I thought Chi-Chi had moaned and Nadia had farted. Having a very deep conversation and I heard...
I was sitting here, he was sitting here, and no, he was like, we were having quite a heavy conversation and he just looked over like that to the dog, so I felt I had to admit it was... But anyway, we've digressed. Can we keep going, please?
I love when Mark's in this mood, to be fair. Sorry, Nat.
Who does?
Zoe.
Right, well, you lot encourage him.
I think Nadia is a bit sensitive today. It's fucking daffodils, Anne-Marie.
Mark.
People are saying
please, you've encouraged him. Now he's going to show off even more. Yes, you are. You're showing off.
I'll get you some daffodils. This is Mark. You should be used to it by now. Lee, thank you.
That's too much.
All right.
Calm down.
I'll lay off the daffodils. All right. Let's talk about Hampstead Heath. If you were to explain to someone the significance of just saying Hampstead Heath, how would you? To someone who has zero knowledge.
No, I think first we should start with actually what this story is about. Let's start with that, and then we can work through.
Hampstead Heath is.
Because this is a really interesting story that actually came up like a week ago, and we kind of just like let it pass. But actually, it does bring up some interesting questions, and even questions about maybe any kind of homophobia in oneself that one might not even realize, and also a quite juicy conversation about cruising and dogging is where it all ended up. So it's a bit of a roller coaster, this chat. It starts more serious and then we ended up in a very odd place with Lee getting involved as well.
But just for anyone who really doesn't understand what would Hampstead Heath, when you talk about Hampstead Heath and you talk about gay culture, it's well known. It's a place of sort of law and history and renown for being parts of it are well known for being a place where many, often gay people will go and meet people and cruise and have sex and what have you. It's kind
of isn't it?
It's mostly. It's not really
heterosexual.
No. It's renowned as a gay kind of cruising ground.
And where that began was, of course, when homosexual sex was illegal, and so men, and very, very dangerous. I mean, you would be thrown in prison. So it was a way that men could meet and the way that men could have sex.
I'm going to tiptoe around this a bit because my mum, who's gay, used to go up to Hampstead Ponds, used to swim there, and they would swim. And she used to come back from there bemoaning, as a lesbian, moaning about the fact that she had to witness gay, she'd come across male gay people having sex or cruising and that thing. So it's a place of renown. It's a kind of shorthand of, all going to the Heath, Hampstead Heath. There's a sort of, often a cock of the eyebrow and a sort of, oh, right, okay, and it's shorthand in certainly certain circles to kind of go, oh, right, yeah, Hampstead Heath, all right.
Hang on, what's this from Stuart? As a gay man, I can guarantee you that will be mostly so-called straight. Well, and that's an interesting place that we got to later on. So thanks for that. We're going to come back to that.
So what I'm going to show you now is a poster that's been put up in Hampstead Heath.
There is a campaign.
Yeah. And this is the poster. It says, please share, take back West Heath. Dog walkers and residents, you are encouraged to walk in the red area. There's a red area on a map for those of you listening, which then says, this is not a cruising ground. And then it says beneath this, it says, cruising for sex, homosexuality is legal. Use a hookup app like Grindr or Sniffies and get a room. Please give West Heath back to the local neighbourhood. Now, this has caused obviously upset within the gay community. Some feel this is a sort of homophobic slant, that there's a homophobia baked within this.
And within that, when Mark showed me that this morning, I read it and I thought, this doesn't seem homophobic to me, but obviously I'm not a gay man.
Yeah.
And he said, I said, it's recognizing that it's legal. It's saying that there's apps, if you change that around and that was loads of dogging, heterosexual dogging, cruising in that area, and somebody says, look, sex is legal. Can't you just find a room? Blah, blah, blah. So we felt it didn't feel homophobic. So then I texted my friend Lee and said the same thing. It's like, are we wrong? Is it, we thought we'd better ask you, because to us it doesn't. And he was like, it's interesting, isn't it? He said, cruising has gone on for years and years and years on, as far back as you can remember, on the Heath. And there's never, why now is there this campaign? And I thought, why is it now? And then he said, the worry is that this is a bit like the DEI that's going on in America.
Yeah.
Where they've
right down to the point, interesting detail, they've clamped down on the word gay in all of their the history books. They're removing any reference to gayness. Yeah, but get this, in the removal, they've been hit with a dilemma, because the fighter bomb plane that dropped the nuclear bomb was, I think, called the Enola Gay or something. So now there's no record of the plane that they're like literally going through it, just deleting willy-nilly. The Bulwark were talking about this. No, it's quite funny.
God.
So the sort of push against diversity and sort of,
and I think if I wasn't seeing what was going on in America at the moment,
Gabrielle's saying, why mention homosexuality and not just mention sexual acts? Because it
is very well known.
That's my point. And I'm pleased you say that. You probably felt I was hesitating as I moved into it.
Because that's what we were saying, is that I don't want to bump into anyone having sex in the park. To which Lee said, you've got to stop calling it a park. Yeah, it's not like a little park with swings and slides. No. You're not going to bump into anyone. It's a vast piece of open land where there is a well-known area where homosexual men meet to have sex and have done for years. And then I said, so I don't really understand, is cruising... Because now it's legal. Is cruising a kink? Is it just a kink where it's like, I want to do that, I want that danger, this is the thing is, I've always wanted to get. So we were having all that conversation. And then to go back to what Stuart G was saying, I then said to Lee, it's legal. But maybe the thing is, it's still where it's not legal in somebody's mind. Somebody's married or isn't yet able to come out being gay. Because we forget that. We live in London. We work in a business where being gay is just like, we wouldn't even think about it, so maybe we forget the people that still hold shame and have to hide it and have to do all that sort of stuff. And is that an area where men go and can be?
Well, a couple of things I want to throw in it. I think Hampstead Heath, there's a sort of notoriety and a fame and a sort of, it's part of the kind of fabric of certainly gay culture in the capital. I do think a lot of people who are saying, well, this is happening in parks near me. But of course, it happens. As
Lee would say, stop calling it a park.
Yeah, and also it's not solely happening on Hampstead Heath. This will be happening and can happen absolutely anywhere. There's that. But then there is also the added detail that, which I think is an important detail in the poster. I just want to reread again. Homosexuality is legal. Use a hookup. Now, that's when Nadia started to ask questions like, well, is it about the thrill of doing it outside? And I think what we have to understand is that the history, as you rightly just said, the history was back in the 60s. This was back in a time when you would be charged with charges. You know, you'd be found guilty of engaging in criminal activity if you were caught having sex. And I think I think it's easy to forget, and I think it's a really important point that you make, that for a lot of people, though the legality isn't questionable, the permission or the acceptance in their lives isn't.
Not.
And so
and that's
going
the
to somewhere where you
difference.
feel there's a
That's
relatively
the
safe.
Because as heterosexual people, there is no, you know, inverted commas, shame attached in the way that it might be for might be for somebody who isn't, you know, is hiding that. Stephanie makes a good point there along the similar lines as
oh, look, my mum's in the room. Hang on.
Oh, Di.
Nanny Di. This is your mother, Mark. Women's ponds are there. Also, it can be a pain for everyone. I agree. Love you. Everyone, gay, straight, there's no end here. Oh, thank you for contributing, Mum.
And Stephanie, just there.
We go. My first thought was some group is feeling emboldened. I fear this is the start of God knows what.
Yeah, and you see, I just hadn't made that connection. And so I was, you know, Lee is such a smart guy. I just hadn't made that connection. Is this, everything always starts out quite sweetly and nicely, doesn't it? And then where do we end up? So,
it's like someone said, Rachel Pickard, be interested to know who's behind the creation of the posters. Yeah, absolutely. Because,
and again, Lily is right. I'm thinking, well, I don't really want anyone having sex in the park because I don't want to bump into anyone. I mean, come on, most of us would like a bit of outdoors, I suppose, but you just don't, do you? Because you think it's not allowed.
Well, then we got into conversations about dogging. And
so then Mark went, well, it's like dogging. And I said, well, no, it's not really, because dogging, you're in a car.
You're in a car park.
And he said, we're in a car park. I said, yeah, but you're not just in a car park, are you? You're in a bloody car with somebody bloody staring through the window. Which is, I think that's dogging.
Yeah.
But, and dogging is rife. And I didn't realise that a lot of dogging happens in superstore car parks.
Superstore?
Yeah, because it's got a big car park.
You mean a supermarket?
No, I mean a superstore.
Well,
it's got to be a big supermarket.
But don't they have CCTV?
So you can go right over there in the corner.
Right into a corner. Oh my God, how funny. Stuart G again, I think you've mentioned this before, but I want to read it again. It was gay men even when I was young, but now I believe it's more straight men doing it. Gay men have apps. I think that's a really interesting detail. It's a really interesting detail, that, because again, that speaks to, is this a place where men who, for whatever reasons, don't identify as gay, want to have gay sex, but they want to do it. There is nowhere that it's permitted in their lives. Do you get me? It's like, but then it's also the illicitness of it. I mean, just to be clear, I don't want to stumble across man, woman, or anyone having sex with anyone in a park.
I'm sorry, I've just got
or a Heath.
I've got to just do this because all Nora Dore says
IKEA. Oh, Lee Peart's in the room. I feel it's necessary to mention at this point, I've never personally frequented Hampstead Heath for that reason, Lee.
It was so funny. What was that bit, Lee, we were saying to each other? He was so funny. He said, oh, because I've never...
Can't they do it in their own homes, asked Laura? So imagine if you're struggling with your not struggling with your sexuality necessarily, but struggling with coming out. You know, you are gay. Your life has, you know, like my mum came out when I was 7. You know, you can lead a life of heterosexuality and discover much later in life that you're gay, and that the disruption and explosion of that moment in your life. There's nowhere safe to take that. And I think it's important to understand that. It might be legal. It might be totally acceptable. There's nothing wrong. Oh, God,
there's nothing. I'll get it because you're in the middle of it.
There's nothing, you know, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But of course, the explosion to all of those people who are close to that person. So you can understand that's why often there's a need or a desire to, you know, take it, if you like, underground. So I do think it is less about, it's interesting because when I first saw the post, right, like Nadia, I didn't think much of it. And then I thought, well, okay, that's reasonable enough. But you begin to realize that there are so many different elements to the reasons why gay sex is happening in perhaps places we would think, well, is that particularly right for everyone else? And if it's quite well known, and I do think this is an important thing, going back to what I was trying to say at the beginning, Hampstead Heath is renowned and well known for this. If there's an element of knowing it's, you know, known for this, you can circumnavigate it.
Well, this is what's been done for years.
Yes.
You don't go to the bit where it happens.
Yeah, quite.
So the more we talk about it, the more I think that I agree with Lee's initial sort of, why is this happening now? Sort of thing, you know.
I agree.
But you know, just like we do not want to just suddenly turn around and find ourselves in the same position they are in America. Shall I play this message of me and Lee?
Is Lee okay with it?
Lee, yeah, he didn't say anything bad.
Hang on, I think you need to check Lee. Are you all right? I don't think you can just.
All right, then
No,
I won't. But he says, so I was saying about dogging, and he says, yeah, I've never really understood dogging, but then I've never had a car. And I said, me neither. Maybe it's a whole world we've excluded ourselves from. And he said, although I'm not sure it's the car that makes the dogger. What time is this chat? I think I'm going to have to tune in.
Lee Pierce just added another thought. They're not getting it out publicly in response to Good Chip Lollipop. From my understanding, it's in the heart of the woods where people don't see it. They're not on the monkey bars going at it. And I think that's.
I don't know. There's some very good trees that can imitate the monkey bar.
Well, hang on. There is one detail in the story. So of course, there's been a lot of protests pushing back against these notices and what have you. But one of the counter protests, there's a video of a counter protest. Listen to this. The counter protest against these posters showed 4 men exposing their bottoms as a this made me tick this too. As a blindfolded man squeezed their cheek in a competition of whose bum is it anyway? And this is the detail that made me laugh, while police officers watched on. Nearby, people held up signs that read, "This is cruising ground. Release the pups and let's go outside." Images on social media also showed protesters holding a sign reading, "Take me to the fuck tree," a tree where cruisers are said to have sex beside.
Oh my God. So this is going to rumble on.
Oh dear. Good God, says Theresa A. Good God. Oh my God.
But this is a question for people to just ask themselves with no answer, right? Because I think many of us will have prejudices that we don't even know about. You know, we consider ourselves, you know, your mum's gay, you know, we work in an industry. But where is that deep-rooted homophobic thingy? You know, like, ask yourself this question. If it was, what makes you recoil, if either, more? Is it if you know that there are men having sex with men, or men and women having sex? Do you feel exactly the same way about those two groups having sex on the Heath? Do you go, oh, yeah? Do you go, oh, whatever? Either way, it's an interesting one to just.
Candy Perfume Girl, haven't seen you comment before. Welcome. Why can't London have an official outside sex park?
Candy Perfume Girl, why not? like the way you have nudist beaches, right?
Just sex beaches or sex parks.
But the trouble is,
with monkey bars, that would be quite fun.
It could get a bit dangerous,
especially on the roundabout. You're flying round. And what about a seesaw?
You're starting to sound too much like a weirdo now. You're starting to enjoy this too much.
I'm not enjoying it.
Yes, you are.
Hi, Mark. Could you say happy birthday to me for yesterday? Says Sharon Elston. Happy birthday, Sharon.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sharon. Right in the middle of a very interesting topic.
Happy birthday to you. I would look forward to your vlog of it, says Candy Perfume.
God, don't encourage him.
Well, you've opened your account beautifully, Candy Perfume. Well done. Welcome.
Welcome
you're
to
in
Coffee
good
Moaning.
You're in good company. South London sex car parks, laugh out loud, Zoe.
Yeah, well, apparently it's rife because Lee said, oh yeah, you don't hear much about dogging anymore, do you? Well, apparently it's just absolutely rife.
I don't think anyone, straight, gay or whatever, wants to just stumble across someone else having sex when you're going for a walk.
I don't even like stumbling upon it in a movie. If somebody's really going for it, it just always looks violent. If you're not in it, it looks like violence.
Oh my God.
That's why I think,
Mama, you're all right. You've just written Mark E.
Mark E.
You're sort of my name. Oh, I see, Mark E. Yeah. All right.
It's you that's not computing.
This is my culture. This is what some of the protesters were saying. This is my culture, and I think it's an interesting debate. You can't talk about it and ignore the history of prejudice and as I said earlier, Stuart G, you said that word resonated for you. The driving underground of sexual identity and expression. You can't just come in neatly and
it seems like a nice enough poster, like I did,
and surgically remove it and just go no thanks, and just totally ignore the history of suppression, oppression, and
remembering that even though it is legal, there is still that suppression and oppression and prejudice and homophobia ever present.
Okay.
Interesting.
We're going to move on to, just briefly here at the end, we're going to move on to Palestine. Lots of people commenting on the footage of the chap. We went live on Coffee Moaning, the Saturday papers. This was happening as we were live. Here's some footage. People
are saying, Dan.
Those of you listening, we're just watching the footage of him standing perilous,
very brave,
on the edge of Big Ben,
and his feet were literally bleeding. And they were sending people up the whole time. I don't know if you saw, because he was doing a lot from his POV.
Well, I've got that here. Let me show you that. I'll add that to that.
The services coming up and saying, you can. Sorry.
That's right.
You're going to have to come down. And he was saying, listen, if you come any closer to me, I am going to go further up and you're going to endanger me.
Wow.
Now, I'm sure there'll be people say, oh, God, it blocked the road. Oh, God, services being used.
Yeah.
But let's not lose sight of what is going on over there.
Yeah, Zoe says he was up there for 17 hours.
He was incredibly brave, and I am in awe for what he did, because activism, I think is an admirable thing. And when you put yourself that far out of your comfort zone and into danger like that, I'm sorry, I admire it, because, last week, Israel proudly announced that they were cutting humanitarian aid. Today we've got electricity yet again cut off in Gaza. That means a new kind of hell. And, so if this was a bit uncomfortable around Big Ben for 17 hours, whilst we are continuing to arm them and send bombs that are blowing men, women and children sky high, then let's make it, him making it a bit uncomfortable around Big Ben is nothing compared to what we're actually doing to those people out there.
I agree. Edward Bevington raises an interesting point there. He says, but they shouldn't do it, getting them a bad brand name, and that's playing into Israel's hands.
There is, listen, there's no...
You can't play into Israel's hands anymore.
It's
done.
It's done. It's done.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, I suppose I always have a moment, a beat.
But hang on, what would we be playing into? What would we be playing into?
Well, no, to be characterized as just batshit crazy and stupid and willing to do. I mean,
but I mean, dropping. America's just sent 40,000 more bombs. I say this to you every time because it's so important that people know this. Gaza is the size of East London, right? 16 months of those amounts of bombs going. Who looks crazy? Whose name can be made even more? A one lone brave man standing up there and saying, this is a humanitarian crisis, let alone what is all the reverberations right round the world, possibly bringing about another war, big war. Who's crazy here? It's the Israeli and American governments and other governments that have got their fingers in this, that just think it's okay to keep obliterating these people.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the news obviously today is that it's not today, but this weekend, Israel, Eli Cohen, Israel's energy minister, has basically instructed the Israeli Electric Corporation to stop selling power to Gaza. The full effects of this are basically electricity, obviously energizes and feeds into the desalination plants, which means that removes the possibility for drinking water. This is an act of genocide. This is a specific act of genocide.
Which has been going on and off for years. Israel controls the water. Israel controls 40% of the water in Jordan, where my father is from. you're out in the desert and you control the water. Just think about that. You can live for months without food. You can't live long without water. And they've been surviving on 4 litres of water a family. That is insane. All through the summer, they can't wash properly. They can't. Children are like drinking filthy water, desperate for water. You know, the wells are closed up. You can be arrested for taking water from a well. This is extraordinary that we continue to stand by.
Yeah. Rather, refreshingly, for a change, the UK government has already accused Israel of risking a breach of international law after it cut off electricity supplies. The shock move by Netanyahu's government comes as the international community wait for the second stage of the ceasefire. The Foreign Office, UK Foreign Office, has said humanitarian aid should never be contingent. You know, that's got stuff in it. Contingent on a ceasefire used as a political tool. A halt on goods and supplies entering Gaza, including basic needs such as electricity, breaches Israel's obligations under international humanitarian law. This is an absolute atrocity. And the fact that
don't underestimate this.
What everyone has to understand now is the fact that it's simply said, does that tell anyone who's been a supporter of the Netanyahu Israel version of Israel, does that not tell anyone something? Does that not frighten anyone or make anyone feel uncomfortable that this is something that they can say and feel emboldened and able to say?
Well, as MeTube says, emboldened further by Trump. We can do whatever we want. Schmutz, sorry, I always get his name. Yesterday was saying, all the plans are in place. We're moving forward now to get everybody out. So how is that going to happen? Are they going to be loaded up onto trains? Are they going to be shoved at gunpoint onto trains and taken to another land? How? How is that? How are the plans now falling into place? Say his name for me. Smotrich.
The only thing about plans falling into place means if any plans are falling into place, based on what Trump has suggested, we are about to experience the next chapter in a genocide and an ethnic cleansing of an entire region.
They're going to put them on trains. They're going to put them on trains and buses and whatever, and they are going to be driven out, and they're going to be placed into camps. That's what's happening next, because they've told us that's what's happening next.
Now, I don't understand.
Now, Trump might say, we'll make a really nice place. What is this really nice place? Where is it? How are they going to be fed and watered? How are they going to have an infrastructure? How are they going to have schools? Where are you going to load them all into out of Israel? Where?
What I don't understand is how the Israelis and how the supporters of this cannot see parallels with exactly what happened in the run-up to Nazi Germany. It's just, I don't understand how the parallels cannot be seen.
You're going to move everyone out of the country.
What we were all supposed to learn from the atrocities of everything that happened in World War II was to not repeat exactly the same behavior and make the same egregious mistakes. And yet what we have here is a using of the historic past to justify doing something so similar. This is ghastly. It's ghastly and it's unforgivable. I mean, in a weird way, because we've been so critical also of the Labour government, the fact that the Foreign Office has come out so quickly is refreshing. But it's but the thing is that Israel have been allowed to get away with this for 60 months. It's the 60 months of not saying anything, Foreign Office, that has led them to feel that they can not only do this, but state it out loud and just
But it's going to become very, very uncomfortable for Europe now if they see these people loaded onto trucks, because Smotrich said yesterday the plans are taking place to move the Palestinians out. Egypt can't take them, doesn't want them. Jordan can't take them. They've got 2 million refugees there already, and Israel controls 40% of the water. They don't have enough water. Where are they going to go? And this is what has to keep being asked. Victoria Derbyshire said it over and over again, didn't she, in that brilliant interview? How are you going to get them? How are you going to move them? How will you move them out of the country? Because they don't want to go. So you've got to get them at gunpoint and onto a moving vehicle of some sort out of there.
Me too. Foreign Office had to say something this time because otherwise UK looks more and more like aligning with Trump. This is the only possible silver lining to Trump.
For the Riviera.
This is the only possible, because what I've noticed is a number of people that we've been begging and urging and willing to speak out about the atrocities in Gaza. I mean, in a weird way, The View, that thing that you posted. As soon as it's Trump saying it, loads of people feel they can get on board. Though I have to say, there's still too many people who can't get on board with it still. But as soon as Trump starts to say it, people can be like, well, I don't want to be aligned with Trump. And in a weird way, that could be the silver lining in that, yes, the Labour, politicians don't want to be aligned with his brand.
His absolutely abhorrent admittance of ethnic cleansing. We're going to move them all out. We're going to make it into the Riviera. How can any European country now? How can they? Because now when we see them loaded onto trucks or buses or trains or whatever they're going to use, that how are they not going to be able to? Which
is why precisely you could argue Trump is leaving Europe on its ownsies. You watch this space.
What are you going to do, Europe?
Yeah. Okay. We're going to have to go because we're really up against the time. So guys, the traditional vlog will be landing later today. The one that was landing on Sundays but now lands on Mondays. So that'll be landing tonight, and we will see you tomorrow morning as well. Anything else to? Shelley
Silver, this is so vile and disgusting. And being Jewish, it really hurts me. What my family members went through, so many of us don't stand by Netanyahu.
Yeah.
He's making this so bad.
Shelley,
thank you for saying that, Shelley, because this isn't about being Jewish.
Yeah.
This isn't. This is Netanyahu's plan.
Shelley,
to get everything, to get all the resources.
We get that.
And the Jewish people that stand with us and walk with us on the marches and put themselves in danger over and over again to speak up and speak out. Literally, it makes me want to cry, that solidarity between humanitarians of all races, religions. Don't let anyone tell you about religion. Don't let anyone tell you. If anyone dares again to call me an anti-Semite when I come from the land my father is, this isn't about anti-Semitism.
No.
This is, and when we, the fantastic Jewish community that stand up and say this over and over again, listen to them, because so many people have been constituted that if you in any way criticize Israel, the brutality that is going on there, you are anti-Semitic.
It is a lie. It is a lie.
You are not.
Danny Cohen was on the radio again this morning, conflating criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism.
It is not.
It is tiresome.
It is not anti-Semitic.
Thank you, Shelley. We really appreciate that.
Dan.
And on that note, also, your card is in the pile heading out. So bless you, sweetie. Keep your eye on the post. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for all your comments. Thanks, guys. Okay.